What cities were given to the house of Gershon and Merari? This is the question that we seek to answer today as we continue our verse-by-verse study of the book of Joshua on Walking Through the Bible.
His word, the glory of his cross.
Today we're going to be discussing Joshua 21 verses 27 to 45. Before we do that, let's read the passage. If you have a Bible with you, turn to Joshua 21 verse 27. But if you don't have a Bible, don't worry. Just follow along with us on the screen. The version that we'll be reading from is the New King James Version. So Joshua 21, beginning at verse 27. Also to the children of Gershon, the families of the Levites, from the other half-tribe of Manasseh, they gave Golan and Bashan, with its common land, a city of the refuge for the slayer, and Be-esherah, with its common land, 2 cities. And from the tribe of Issachar, Kishayon, with its common land, Daberath, with its common land, Jarmuth, with its common land, and Engannon, with its common land, 4 cities. And from the tribe of Asher, Mishal, with its common land, Abdon, with its common land, Helkath with its common land, and Rehob with its common land, 4 cities. And from the tribe of Naphtali, Kedesh with it in Galilee with its common land, a city of refuge for the slayer, Hamath Dor with its common land, and Kartan with its common land, 3 cities. All the cities of the Gershonites according to their families were 13 cities with their common lands. And to the families of the children of Merari, the rest of the Levites, from the tribe of Zebulun, Jokneam with its common land, Karta with its common land, Dimnah with its common land, and Nahalal with its common land, 4 cities. And from the tribe of Reuben, Bezer with its common land, Jahaz with its common land, Kedemoth with its common land, and Mephath with its common land, 4 cities. And from the tribe of Gad, Ramoth and Gilead with its common land, a city of refuge for the slayer, Mahanaim with its common land, Heshbon with its common land, and Jazer with its common land, 4 cities in all. So all the cities for the children of Merari, according to their families, the rest of the families of the Levites, were by their lot 12 cities. All the cities of the Levites within the possession of the children of Israel were 48 cities with their common lands. Every one of these cities had its common land surrounding it. Thus were all these cities. So the Lord gave to Israel all the land which he had sworn to give to their fathers, and they took possession of it and dwelt in it. The Lord gave them rest all around according to all that he had sworn to their fathers, and not a man of all their enemies stood against them. The Lord delivered all their enemies into their hand. Not a word failed of any good thing which the Lord had spoken to the house of Israel. All came to pass. Over the last 2 lessons, we've been looking at the Levitical cities that were promised to the Levites back in Numbers 35, 1-5. We invite you to go back to read that passage if you'd like further details on what was expected. So far, we've looked at the cities given to the priests, the house of Aaron. These 13 cities were found in the borders of Judah, Simeon, and Benjamin. Then we looked at the 10 cities given to the rest of the house of Kohath. These 10 cities were located in the tribes of Dan, Ephraim, and half-tribe of Manasseh west of the Jordan. This leaves us with 2 houses in the tribe of Levi yet to receive their cities. The third lot fell to the tribe of Gershon. This family would be split between the east and west side of the Jordan, with most of them being on the west side. On the east side, the other half-tribe of Manasseh would give 2 cities, Golan, which was one of the cities of refuge east of the Jordan, and Be-esherah, along with the required pasture land that came with these cities. On the west side, the rest of the cities for the house of Gershon came from the tribes of Issachar, Asher, and Naphtali. 4 cities would be given by Issachar, with those cities being Kishayon, Daberath, Engannon, and Jarmuth, along with the required pasture land. 4 cities would be given by Asher, with those cities being Mishal, Abdon, Helkath, and Rehob, with its required pasture land, and 3 cities would be given by Naphtali, with these cities being Kadesh in Galilee, one of the cities of refuge, Hamath Dor, and Kartan, with its required pasture land. In total, the house of Gershon received 13 cities. Which brings us to the family of Merari. These cities would mostly place them east of the Jordan River, with the exception of the cities found in the tribe of Zebulun. The tribe of Zebulun would give 4 cities, with those cities being Jokneam, Karta, Dimnah and Nahalal, with its required pasture land. On the east side of the Jordan, the tribe of Reuben would give 4 cities, with those cities being Bezer, a city of refuge, Jahaz, Kedemoth, and Mephaath, along with its required pasture land, with the tribe of Gad giving 4 cities, those being Ramoth Gilead, a city of refuge, Mahanaim, Heshbon, and Jazer, with its required pasture land. All in all, the house of Merari would receive 12 cities. Why did this family receive 1 less city than Gershon? Well, if you remember back to the first census of the Levites back in Numbers 3, we found that the Merarites were the smallest of the 3 houses. When we come to the second census, we're not given a house-by-house breakdown, but it is safe to assume that the Merarites are still the smallest of the 3 houses, hence 1 less city. Needless to say, though, God provided what each family needed in order for them to be taken care of. The chapter concludes with verses 42 to 45, verses that might not only confuse the Bible student, but verses that are also used by skeptics in order to discredit the accuracy of the Bible. These verses say that the Lord had given Israel all the land that he swore to their fathers, and they took possession and dwelt in it. And not a man of their enemies stood against them, for the Lord delivered all their enemies into their hands. The issue that might cause some confusion is in just a few short lessons, we're going to come to the book of Judges and find that Israel did not in fact completely take the promised land, but allowed some of the Canaanites and other peoples to remain. So did God's promises fail, or is the writer of Joshua mistaken here in this passage? No, for we said earlier in our study of Joshua that even though Israel didn't control every city immediately, that with the Lord they were the military power in the region, such that the Canaanites weren't able to wipe Israel out, for Israel spread out all over the land that God promised to Abraham. And as long as the Lord was with them, no enemy could stand in their way. But as we're going to see in the book of Judges, Israel's faith in God failed. They made treaties with people in Canaan. They feared some of the peoples, and then they went after other gods. God was not thus with them and allowed these people to remain as thorns in Israel's side. In other words, it was not God's fault that Israel didn't completely subdue the land. It was Israel's. But there's another point that needs to be considered here as well. The book of Joshua and Judges were not written at the same time. Much of this book was written by Joshua when Israel was following God, and God was conquering their enemies and performing all the good things that he promised. Thus, this statement is absolutely true in Joshua's day. But after Joshua died, that's when Israel turned to idolatry and God left them. And so when we compare statements in the book of Joshua and the book of Judges, we need to realize that even though we're dealing with similar time periods of history, they were written by different authors and at different times, and as such, circumstances changed. God didn't change. Israel changed. So just as God said in Deuteronomy, circumstances would change for the worse if Israel changed from serving him. God, though, in the days of Joshua, did give Israel rest in the land of Canaan, meaning they no longer had to wander in the wilderness. Remembering that God gave Israel physical rest here is something that people who mark their Bibles should note, for it will help us in our study of Hebrews. With that, our time is up for today. The Lord willing, we hope you'll join us for tomorrow's discussion of Joshua 22, verses 1 to 9, as we continue our walk through the Bible, one verse at a time.
Thank you for watching today's episode. We hope that you found it edifying and ask that you not only subscribe to our channel and podcast, but that you like and share this episode among your friends, so that the saving gospel of Jesus Christ can go out to the whole world.